Well, hi everyone, this is Caroline,
And this is Kurt.
and welcome to our podcast, The Business of.
Christmas.
Well, good morning everybody. This is Caroline and Kurt with The Business of Christmas. You are not seeing Kurt today, but he is about 3 feet to my
I'm right
right.
here. What do you
Oh,
mean?
actually, he's here. But we are actually currently in beautiful Boulder, Colorado. We are attending a conference which is called the National Interior Network Association, and it's a national association that interior-scapers, companies that do plants and Christmas, and we are happy to be here over the 3 days networking and talking ideas. Many of these companies do Christmas, so we're having a great time. On the session on Tuesday afternoon, there was a guest speaker, Mike Rubino. Rubino. I'm sorry. I knew I was going to
It is okay.
mash that up. And we were blown away by what he had to talk about. He is the creative director with a company here in Denver called Bloom and Flourish. And Kurt and I just said, hey, can we record a podcast while we're here in town? And so that's exactly what we're doing. Mike, good morning. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We're so excited. So much of what you talked about resonated with both Kurt and I and the rest of the audience. And I think you've got some good stories to share with our audience. So thank you for your time.
Well, oh my gosh, thank you. That was such a
you.
warm intro.
Thank you. No.
I'm honored that you did feel that way.
Yeah,
Truly.
no,
Yeah.
it's great. It's I think in this industry, the people that are really truly in it are very passionate, and your passion comes over so well. So tell me a little bit. You're creative director with Bloom and Flourish.
Yes.
What is your role there? What do you do?
Well, it's funny. I think with all small businesses, all of us wear multiple hats, right? And working with Rebecca and her team, there's a lot of opportunity for creativity. And there's a lot of opportunity to play with vision and how we execute. And so basically we landed on the role of creative director because we've been able to work on branding together. We've been able to look at some of our like arrangements and refining the way we build them. We're building a holiday program together, and we're kind of working through all of the facets of the company to make sure it's on brand, but also has a clear brand identity. And so that's what the creative direction really is about. But a part of my time is really designing for holiday and building a holiday team and getting that part of the business built in a very strong way. Yeah.
I love how your face lights up when you say the word holiday and Christmas.
Yeah.
I resonate with that, and I know Kurt does as well because
Yes.
because of our passion. So how tell us a little bit how you got started, because we all have a story to share
Yeah.
of how we start in Christmas. What was yours?
Yeah, so my mom was born on Christmas. And
I
I
love
think
that.
that's really where it starts, right? My dad was born the 22nd, my mom the 25th. And so Christmas was always a big event. Italian family, 3 tables down the hall filled with food. And so anyways, for Christmas, my mom would get Christmas decorations a lot for her birthday. And so we had a lot of inventory.
Okay,
Right?
nice.
And so it was a production to put the holiday decorations together every year. Well, there was even one point where we had so much, I was like, Ma, I'm not really into the fact that there's like Santa, snowman, reindeer, like all this stuff doesn't seem to match because you got a lot of different aesthetics. Why don't we go blue in the kitchen with the snowman and then bring all the Santas in the dining room and make that? And I think that's
How old
where it
were you then?
Oh, I was probably like 10.
Wow. Okay.
And I loved like TLC and HGTV. Like instead of cartoons, I'd be like, Ma, we can redo our front room in a weekend. That's just the kid I was. And so I really loved to curate spaces. It was like my favorite thing to decorate the table. It was my favorite thing to play with like any of the arrangements she had. Sometimes I'd take them apart and put them back together. And there was even one point where it wasn't even like near Christmas season, and I was just bored one day and in the garage, and I picked out the boxes and started decorating the garage with Christmas decorations. And my mom opens the door and she's like, what are you doing? We've got to park your father's car here in like 3 hours. You need to get this down. And I think that's what kind of taught me how to put into gear to take takedown. But, it's always had a soft space in my heart. Went on to have more of like an art career. I actually wanted to be an art teacher first. And I went to school for art and then pivoted into design. And as an artist and graphic designer, I was just trying to pick up jobs. And I worked at Pier 1 at one point in time and loved the visual merchandising side of it. And Pier 1 used to do these, like, did you ever shop at Pier 1?
Oh, I used to love Pier 1. I was devastated when that closed down.
I know!
Yeah.
Well, there were a couple things that really put a strong imprint on who I am as a designer today by working there. One, they had these beautiful displays, and they taught you through planning guides how to decorate like the designers who made it at the home office. And we had a window at our Pier 1 that was separate from the store. So I used to be able to like decorate that window without the planning guide. And my manager was like, well, you got to stay on trend here. You can't go too far off grid, but have some fun, be creative. And so it starts there. And they also talked about a lot of the behind the scenes with Pier 1, like how it was made. There was one artist in Italy that made a single hand-blown glass ornament. And he would spend his whole year on that one design. And there was a limited quantity in the store. And when I heard that story, it really started to change my perspective on the goods that we use to put into our designs, right? There's a whole handcrafted element there. There's a family there. There's a lot of tradition there. And so I go on, pick up a few more jobs, and I meet this guy named Paul Kepner in Chicago. And he's a designer, and he did staging for real estate off-season and holiday decor on-season.
Okay.
And he would do both commercial and residential spaces. And so working with Paul was another layer to the story because he kind of taught me a lot of the tricks that I knew originally and really got me into the fact that like, oh, you can do this as a gig. And then moved to Denver, landed with a company called DZPS. They no longer have a holiday decorating company anymore, but they had a division of holiday, and I helped grow that program into quite a successful program over about 5 years. After that, took a little break. That was, they sold that part of the holiday decorating business, and whoever acquired it just didn't seem like the fit for me. And so I took a break and focused on art. And I think that was another layer that helped me realize this is a passion of mine because I missed the joyful experience of holiday. And so I basically ended up with Rebecca after a couple of years of just focusing on art and talked with her about the vision, and here I am.
Yeah, I love that. It reminded me something talking about Pier 1. And Kurt, you do not know about this. I actually work for Pier 1.
You look like you would
Oh,
wear a
I
blue
really?
apron. Yes, I could see it. Yes.
I did. It was for a short period of time. It was when I moved, and my kids were young, and I actually really enjoyed my time there. It was only literally for 4 months. It wasn't for long. It wasn't a career thing.
Yeah.
And but I really did it for the discounts.
It was a good one.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. I'm going to refer to my phone a little bit because I did not print my notes out, but I love how you started. I think it's good. But one of the things I really felt and resonate with me was your passion. And what do you love most about your job that you do? What would you say is like right up there?
For me, it's about facilitating joyful moments. The things that really inspire your mood are through community, or let me rephrase that. When you're in a well-curated space, it can have an impact on your mood, first off. But second off, community has a strong impact on your mood as well, and your well-being or the way you experience something.
For sure.
And growing up Italian, it's like if you put love in the sauce, you're gonna taste it. And so I love that.
That's a great saying.
Right? You know it too, right?
Yeah.
You can feel that. And so when it comes to being in production, I love production because that's making the sauce. And we're in there and we're talking, and I see people grow as artisans. They go from being challenged with a wreath to being an expert in wreath design, or they are so intimidated by the 12-foot tree. And then at the end of the season, they are at the top of the ladder doing the finesse of the ribbon at the end of the job. And so that's really joyful to me, to empower people in a craft that brings joy.
Yeah.
But then you have people walk in and they feel it. And that is really, it's really something I cherish.
I call that the ta-da moment. Like,
Yes.
ta-da. I mean, I just do, you know,
Yes.
especially, and I'm not involved in the install side, but I just remember many years ago when I was, like, people watching what you do, or, you know, standing back and wanting to be the first person to take the photo. Like, oh, do you
Yes.
mind if you move your ladder? We haven't
Yes.
finished, but we want to take a photo, right?
love that.
I know it's great. Where do you find your creative inspiration when you're
Ooh.
designing?
You know, I use a lot of sources. And for me, the first thing I try to tap into, if there's an experience that brings me into awe, I try to latch onto that and I say, what was the recipe for that? Like the mountains really inspire me. There have been designs that I actually just was talking about this with somebody else. There was a design I did in a building where it was really inspired by me walking through an aspen grove. I had this moment where I was like trying to get a glimpse of the leaves right before they dropped. And so I went out there with my best friend and we're like, let's go bring our cameras and let's just have a day of it. Let's have like a little art experience. And so we went on a hike, we had our cameras, and we were really there to like just see the leaves. But then I started looking at all the bark on the trees and I was like, they are presenting a gallery to us of markings that is like artwork, you know? And then there were frames because the branches would frame the landscape so beautifully. And I loved how graphic that was. And I was like, I gotta remember this. This is beautiful. I just didn't want to leave. And so there was a job I did in the tech center where there's this like long elevator lobby, really dark and moody. And there's a lot of space to walk through, but you can't really like impede on the space.
You can't put anything wide, right? Yeah.
Right. So I ended up using birch poles and and the birch poles weren't even long enough. So I actually had to cut them and then make them longer so that I could get that feeling of walking through that grove. And although there were birch poles and not aspens, you can still see the marking on the birch.
So you were hanging them vertically.
So they were
Yeah.
in pots and
Okay.
we were actually putting them upright. So it was, and so when you walked through, you kind of got that feeling of being
That
on the
forest
trail.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it just like, it created such graphic lines on the dark walls. And that really was inspiring because I was inspired by that on the trail. So it's like moments like that that really inspired me, but also looking at interior design and seeing what accessories and interior design are kind of resonating with my kind of, not just resonating with the people, right? Like it's not just about me as a decorator. Like you're presenting spaces for others.
Yeah.
So what's singing in interior design right now? You know, sculpture is kind of big in interior design right now. So how can I bring that into holiday? You know, and so I'm constantly thinking about that.
Yeah, I get that. It's funny you're talking about the mountains. I'm looking out of 6 windows here at a beautiful vista of the Rockies
Yes.
as we're talking, and just sitting here looking at that. And we had the opportunity to go up there yesterday for nature bathing, tree bathing, which you were talking about. Like I was taking shots with my camera of
Yes.
like I picked up, actually I've got it in my room, I picked up a piece of rotting bark, and it reminded me of like a snake skin, and when you looked at it you could see the textures going through it, and to touch it and just to it was, so I totally get what you're saying. You know,
Yes.
sometimes it's as simple as just getting out and just looking what's around you.
Yep.
And bringing that inside. When you presented on Tuesday, you talked to us about a project that you did, I believe, last year with a large hotel here in Denver. I don't know if it's your favorite project. It sounded like it was one of your favorites.
It's definitely one of my favorites. Yeah.
I don't know. We may be able to put a couple of photos in the podcast so people can see that.
Yeah.
Or they could certainly go to Instagram page,
Uh-huh.
which we will advertise and put on the screen. But talk us a little bit about that project and how that came about, and try and describe it to our audience. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were presented with this awesome opportunity to work with the Kimpton Claret Hotel in the Denver Tech Center. And this is the first year they're actually celebrating a holiday season because it's a new build.
Okay.
And so they haven't had the design already done, or they didn't have expectations. And so when I approach design, I very much try to make sure it aligns with the space. Like, this is what we talked about yesterday,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, brand identity is important. Figure out the brand of a space so that you can really understand what resonates with the people who are there, because they're coming there for an aesthetic and an experience, and for the developers or the owners, because they've put a lot of time and thought into how they want people to feel in their space. And so when you add those things into the mix, you can really create something that feels like it resonates with the space, harmonizes well, and then takes somebody on a fun, accessorized experience, right? And so at Kimpton, I was given like rough parameters, right? We have a budget that is really for interior. It's focused on just getting the basics into place. A tree, maybe something over a fireplace, but that's kind of what they were looking for at first. And so I do my investigation. I'm like, okay, let's talk about your brand. What are you really hoping to see? And they're like, actually, we have a brand guide. Let me pull that out. And so they pull out the
And
brand
many
guide.
hotels do.
Yes.
Many hotels do.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I said, perfect. Let's pull that out. Let's take some notes. Oh, you want some pines that really look natural. You don't want the overboard design. You don't want something that's overly decorated. You want it to be simple and minimalist, because much of their art was minimalist and the architecture is minimalist. And so we start there, right? And we start getting something together. And I said, well, what makes your place different? And they're like, well, we're in Colorado. I said, okay, well, we've got to bring in something that feels like it's from Colorado. And we went with a little twist of lodge, right? Adding some birch poles in, adding some pine cones, some natural textures that you'd see in the mountains, but elevate them with glamour, okay? And we pulled colors from their interior design aesthetic, like plum and brass and gold. And we used velvet plum ribbons. And so that's the interior of the space. Well, as we're doing the site walk, we get to the second floor, and he's like, oh, I wish we could transform this second floor patio. We have a rooftop patio, and it gets all the attention, and this space kind of feels underutilized. I love when somebody presents me with a potential challenge, right?
It was blank canvas, right?
Essentially. There's furniture there, but there's nothing that's really pulling anybody in. And mind you, this is 45 days to installation season.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, I got to come up with this fast. But this wasn't budgeted. So we have to really make sure that this is something that can be utilized so they can see the value of what we're bringing to the space. I said, well, what is the intention of this space? And he says, a lot of people come here, and this is the pit stop to the slopes, right? They've had a long journey from the airport, and they're going to hang out here, visit some friends in the city, and then they're going to take their gear and go to the slopes and spend some time in Vail or Aspen. So I would love to kind of get them hyped about what they're going to experience in the mountains. Perfect, I've got you. So there's a supplier that's local to us that makes these ski lift chair benches.
Are they in Colorado Springs?
They are.
I
Do you know them?
I ordered one just recently.
Yes.
It's a great supplier if anybody wants to know.
Great supplier.
Yeah.
And they were able to work with us on our timeline, which is incredible, because we had to make 9 of them.
Yeah.
And in 45 days, that's a lot to do. And so I was like, okay, I want to create an experience that this is a large space. In parties, if you walk into an empty room, it doesn't feel cozy. It almost makes you want to leave right away, right? So you've got to create intimate spaces, because as humans, we like to feel cozy, especially in the winter. And we feel like we can gather and have an intimate moment. So that's break apart the space. 2, where's the experience? Well, there's nothing like riding a little lift into the mountains through the valleys, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought, wow, can I bring that to life? And so we created this ski chalet theme and created mountains that were custom made for this space.
And they were hand painted,
They
right?
were hand painted.
Yeah,
And
it was so cool.
It was so cool because every single person on our team touched this project. So that's what
Wow.
makes it special to me, is when everybody can be involved. And then at the end, I always make my team like take a picture,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
because I'm
team
like,
picture, yeah,
yes.
uh-huh.
And they were like, let's take the picture. You know, they really were excited about this one. And so we created these intimate spaces. We added some fire pits. We made it warm. We made it inviting. We blocked the wind. The mountains have purpose,
Yeah.
right? They're there to block some of that wind coming in to create more of an inviting area. And we added some patio lights above. And so the mountains actually are a structural unit to create, because the ceiling was so high. I wanted to drop it. I wanted to make the
Okay.
space feel cozy and intimate. And so we added a patio light space, and put the ski chairs in there, and added some trees to add some biophilic texture and really try to create something. We used the Alberta spruce from Vickerman and used a tree that has an organic shape, because it's a minimalist space. They didn't really want decorations, and they wanted to keep it beyond the season.
Yeah.
And so
So it could take them all the way through to March. Did they keep it
did.
up that long?
it did.
Oh, wow.
It
Interesting.
did. And so it was
Okay.
quite the experience
Yeah,
for people.
yeah.
You know, it was quite the experience. And so for me, it's beautiful, because as soon as we were done, there was a family that was like asking to come in and take their picture there.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite moments. Yeah. Yeah.
Does that warm my soul?
Yeah,
You know, to know
yeah.
that like they were like, this space represents something that we want to capture happy
Yeah,
memory in.
yeah.
And so there were weddings that took place there.
Oh, wow.
You know, so there
Yeah.
were many opportunities for celebration
Yeah.
in a space like that.
Yeah, I've seen that ski lodge look used. I've got a couple of friends that have done it. We've done it as an organization.
Yeah.
But the way that you did it told such a larger, longer story. And now I love that you've just shared that you could take it through longer. Because let's face it, we put up Christmas and it lasts for 4 to 6 weeks, depending.
Exactly.
And if a customer is investing their money on something like that, to be able to take it further, because I saw the photos, there was no glitter and
Nope.
and no icicles or anything like that. Yeah, it was lovely. I am encouraging everybody. I think it's on your Instagram page. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
it's
it
on
is.
our Instagram page.
And maybe your website too?
And it's on our website.
Okay,
And so you
yeah.
can see a case study of it as
Yeah,
well.
no, I think that's I think that was I just wanted you to share that. So let's go back to your job. And I know it's really hard for me right now. We are in our crazy season, and I'm in Colorado for 4 days, and my phone is pinging even while we're doing this podcast, because orders are coming in, and we're shipping trees out every day. What's your typical day like now as we lead through this season when you come in? Because I know for you to drive from Denver to Boulder, well, it was half an hour, 45 minutes, but in spending a couple of hours, you know, we appreciate it because you've already been here once this week. But what's your typical day like now? Are you hands-on with what you do, or are you more directing your team?
Okay, so this is really interesting, because this time of year is almost more intense than installation season sometimes.
Yeah.
Because you're in the phase of building your team. You're taking care of last minute sales. You're in the process of bringing all these products that have been coming in to life, right? Like now you're getting your orders that have maybe taken a few weeks to process, or there are orders that you put in January that are
Yes,
now
for sure.
finally arriving to the warehouse.
Yep.
And so you're putting all the puzzles together. I always say, do you like puzzles? Because if you do, you're a good elf. Because holiday decorating is really just like taking a puzzle
Yeah.
and putting it together.
It's putting the components together,
Right?
absolutely.
And using a mind that has a little bit of strategy when you do it. And so that's really what this time is, you know, taking care. Our schedule is almost 90% filled at this point. But there are people out there who are still interested in potentially getting on the schedule. So I want to make sure I give them a compelling design to look at.
And you are selling direct to clients too, as
Directly to
well as
clients.
managing and overseeing
Right.
a team.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and our team, we're building right now. So it's really interesting because I like to put everybody through a training period. I really like to give them the tools so that they can feel confident going into the season. Production is a great training time
Yeah, for sure.
to get to installation. And by the time installation comes, I want them to be like, yeah, girl, I got this. You know? And so giving people confidence in their craft is so important. So that's a little bit of what this time of year is. It's balancing all of the building blocks that make our program come to life. Yeah.
Do you have any secrets on
Woo!
how you find the staff? Because that is like, if you ask anybody in this
Yes.
industry, it's stuff, because we're seasonal. I'm lucky with the size of our company, we have a lot of people that can stay full time because there's other things that we do. But I know with smaller holiday companies, that's a huge struggle. Do you
It's
have a
so hard.
secret? Do you have a secret?
Yes.
What's the secret sauce?
First off is make sure you are looking at your current team and seeing
For sure.
what roles are going to basically transition out of their season and what they can do postseason, right? So that's one aspect, right? We transition some of our exterior team members into our elf team. And then there's another layer, which is just trying to get some help from outside of the business. And so we can use things like Indeed or LinkedIn to get ourselves a few applications. And we do get applications through that.
Yeah.
I love word of mouth.
Me too.
Because I say,
too.
do you have a crafter in your family? And crafting is really, you can say, do you have a designer? But I think for production, a crafter really is the ideal person to bring in. And the reason is because they like to look at a sample and recreate that. They like a process. They like the process. A designer, if they don't get the chance to put their thumbprint on something, and we've sold these designs to clients already.
For sure.
So there's not much room to have your own interpretation. And although I love to encourage creativity, that's not the best person to bring in at that role.
Yeah.
So find a crafter, another one, a theater person. Somebody who does set design is a really good person for your team. If they have the capabilities to build a set, girl, they're going to be so great on your team.
Yeah.
Actually, there was somebody that had said, one of their team players who is essentially in the same role, I think they're in California. You might know, I can't think of the name.
It's okay.
But she was saying that her holiday lead did set design, and she brought that into her business, and it invigorated her business. But a part of that is like learning the practicality of putting a project together.
Yeah.
Right? So get somebody who likes puzzles, who likes to take a step-by-step instruction and bring it to life.
Yeah, you've also mentioned that some of your background was visual merchandising,
Yes.
and one of the things I will always encourage people to do if they're advertising is if you do have a visual merchandising background,
Yes.
because people see it from like big picture rather than like small project.
Yes.
The other thing, I'm a huge word of mouth. I will be in line at a supermarket or a Hobby Lobby, or somebody's installing
it.
the tree at Hobby Lobby
Yes.
or making an arrangement, and I'll go, here's my card.
Yes.
Are you creative? One thing that people don't know about Seasonscapes, or very few, is we actually make and create the huge preserved moss walls, from small to huge. And so that enables us to keep people on all year round with that. The trouble is when we get orders this time of year, we're like, not another moss wall. But I just hired 2 people on Monday because we've got some large projects, and we have to keep that away from Christmas because the glitter has to stay away from the moss. And they were people that I met word of mouth, but they were both creative. They both loved making things and just being crafty, and it just works so it works so great when you do stuff like that, right? So but yeah, word of mouth, I find those people come back every year if they enjoy what they're doing.
Also, people who have done event decor.
Yes. Yeah.
If you have done if you can set up and take down for an event,
Yeah.
that is a skill, because there's a hard timeline that you have to follow.
For sure.
And so that is a quality individual that has a lot of experience. And I love people too that can bring their experience to the table. No matter what position you're in, we do a round table after our installation season and after takedown.
Like a debrief?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And we go through and we're like, what did you think of this? What did you think of that? And there are so many innovative ideas that have come from those roundtables.
Yeah.
And so you want to make sure that these people feel heard, right? Because they have great perspective and great ideas.
Well, we're learning from them as well.
Yes.
I mean, we're really learning. I mean, we class ourselves more of as a manufacturer, but, I'm always telling people, if you see a way of doing something better, quicker, especially saving labor, right? Because labor is like our biggest killer.
Yep.
Share it, because I can't answer, and I'm not this. I cannot provide the solutions for every issue,
Right.
but the team can. And if you discuss it, sometimes it might be a crazy idea and you don't go through with it, but sometimes it's a cool idea. I mean, I'm
Right.
always telling people, think about the products that we can sell, that we pre-decorate,
Yes.
because I would love to sell more SKUs,
Yeah.
So it is using your team, especially if they're creative, they come up with some really good ideas.
The last thing I'll add
No,
is
please.
build a diverse team, because different
Yes.
walks of life
Yes.
provide you with different insights and resources. There might be an inspiration from somebody who comes from Mexico who is like, have you ever thought about using terracotta?
Yeah.
Right? Like, build a diverse team. The perspectives that they can bring to your team will they'll benefit you.
Yeah, for sure.
100%.
It's interesting. I mean, I'm obviously English. I've got people on my staff from Ecuador, Colombia,
Yes.
Mexico. I mean, I love having that diversity.
Yes.
And also they share things from that, we talked about your childhood,
Yeah.
being Italian, and how the holidays, evoke what memories, and I have the same ones, and it's just so interesting coming together. I'm keeping it a very good eye on the time, but tell me about what you feel, and Rebecca, that owns the company, what do you think sets your company apart here in Denver? I'm talking on the holiday side now. What's your, and I don't want you to give away any secrets or anything, but what do you feel that sets you apart? Because I got what sets you apart at your presentation
Yeah.
the other day, but share that with our audience.
Okay, some big things are, one, we build narratives to
Okay.
experience and live in, and that builds community, right? When you can say, whoa, I know something about this holiday display that I think you'll find so interesting to your friend at work, that gives you a shared experience for you to both have a perspective on and chat about. And that is hard because we've all been working from home.
Yeah.
So, like, sometimes small talk is hard.
Yeah.
Right? And so our goal is to really invigorate spaces with life and story and try to give a perspective. Two, we're a high design company.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're trying to create conceptual spaces. We're trying to elevate spaces. And so I really like to align myself with a company's brand and say, let's put on that beautiful Christmas dress this season and bring you out as a star. Right? We're not much of a company that just drops a tree in and drops a wreath on the wall. Like, we're talking about what's the experience that you're living in, and how can we do a little bit of the Hallmark touch throughout your space,
Yeah. Yeah.
So those two things for holiday in particular, important. The second layer is we're customer service above else. So when we come in, we're really working with you, and we want to provide you with a joyful experience through and through.
Yeah.
And so what it stands apart from our competitors is we're a local company who's high design, who offers you great service, and gives you a story to live in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. Off camera, we talked very quickly about this, and I know Kurt's trying to wrap us up, but let's talk about trends super quick.
Yes.
And I know it's subjective because it doesn't matter. It's like fashion. It depends where you are in the world, what state you're in the U.S. But what do you see as trends for this season, and then going into 2026?
Yes. Okay. I love this. Okay. One, I think pairing natural elements with like elegance has been very on trend right now.
For sure.
We are in a digital age, and I think we want natural elements in our life to remind us of nature.
Connecting from the outside,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
And so pairing that up with this refined beauty is just really, it's an experience in itself, right? The second thing is the base of trees has really evolved.
Oh, for sure.
Right? We are seeing some unique skirtings now. I've been seeing this oversized ornament thing around the base of
Yeah.
a tree that's like now sprawling across
I know,
the room.
like 20 feet
Yes!
wide. Yeah.
And I'm into it, because it adds a layer of drama.
Big,
and
bold.
It's, and collars have really evolved.
Yes,
Right?
yeah.
And it's not just a present under a tree.
Yeah.
We've actually been doing something where we've been taking fur and using that on the base of
I
our
do that
tree.
at my house
It's
every
so
year.
fun.
I know it is.
We use faux.
No, I know. But you can go to Home Goods and get a
Yes.
fur blanket for like 16,
Yes.
$17. You can throw two together. You can like take it out and put it over I love that whole
Yeah.
faux foil thing. It's fun. It's fun. I know. Kurt's laughing in the background at our
Because you can also
fur
get those
thing.
skirts at Vickerman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, exactly. Hey.
Yes. And
So,
velvet ribbons. Velvet ribbons have really been carrying through trend-wise this year, I think, as well.
yeah. So I'm trying to like hone in and kind of finish up. I want to advertise and say Bloom and Flourish
Yes.
to out of Denver, Colorado is a company to follow on Instagram. If you go to their website, you can see a lot of your projects, and I think there's a lot of inspiration there. I called Mike last night and I said, Mike, I know you're probably home right now, but can you just put something? This is a very boring room. The view is amazing, but and he walks in with this little box this morning and creates this little vignette behind, which says to me Colorado, and it mimics what I'm actually seeing outside. So thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we just appreciate. I feel like you may be a guest again.
I would love that.
It's been a pleasure just hearing somebody else's insight and seeing somebody else's passion. And thank you so much, Mike. We really appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me. Getting to know you two has actually been a really big highlight of these past 3 days for me. I feel like we've gotten a chance to really sit down and chat,
Yeah, for sure.
holiday and not.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Mike.
It's
yeah.
been great. So
Yeah.
thanks for inviting me into your
Yeah,
space. I
yeah.
really feel honored to be
Yeah.
here.
Well, this
Yeah.
is what the business of Christmas is all about, and why we wanted to do it. It was to create a community within the commercial Christmas arena
Yeah.
where people can learn from each other. I always have this saying: "There's enough work for everybody," and I think we can learn from each other, and we don't
Absolutely.
all have to make the same mistakes. And so, if ever we can connect you with anybody else to help you grow as a person and grow your company, just let us know. We're happy to help.
I will be
So,
reaching out.
yeah,
I love it. I
yeah.
think building a community is like one of the special gifts we get in our life,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. It's always good to give back.
Yeah.
I believe if you give back, you receive twice as much more back. So,
Yes.
yeah. So thank you guys for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Kurt, like I said, is here in the background. I miss him being by my side or on another screen with me. But we'll be back soon with another episode of The Business of Christmas. Thank you for watching.
Bye.